Hello, Matthew Mathers. Today we're going to do two similar lessons in one video. So this video is actually going to last you 3 days. Day one, there's a sheet that's going to do some multiplying with scientific notation. Day two is going to do some dividing with scientific notation. And that should get us through this week, Thursday and Friday's papers. And then next week, Tuesday, there's a practice test that'll just put it all together. All of the scientific notation stuff goes together for a Tuesday sheet. So this will be the last video for a little while. Multiplying today is just like the day that we multiplied with powers. So when we multiplied with powers, what we looked to do is to find the normal looking numbers called coefficients, and we would just multiply them. 2 times 3 is 6. Just like it has been forever. These were called bases. We like for the bases to match, and as long as the bases matched, we left the base alone. We didn't change that, and we looked to add the powers. The whole multiplying day, we would look to add the powers. And on the simpler half of the paper, that's all you're going to have to do, is multiply the numbers, the coefficients, to make a new number. Keep the 10 the same. Add the powers. There's some that go one step harder. So here's one that's going to go one step harder. 8 times 9, we start off multiplying to get a 72. The 10s, we never change the 10s. Every answer today is going to have a 10 still in it. The 10s are going nowhere. 10 is unavoidable. We look to add the powers for multiply problems, and we'd be up to 13. But here's a problem at the end that we encountered yesterday as well. This number has to be between 1 and 10. We can't have numbers above 10. We can't have 10 itself either. 10 itself is also too big, even though that's right on the line. We need to be under 10. So what we're going to have to do for this is change this to be 7.2. Just insert a decimal in the middle of the number to change it by 1 position. We made this number smaller. So we're going to pay for that by making the power 1 spot bigger. So this got smaller to be a decimal number. This goes bigger to like even that out. About half, maybe even more than half the problems will do that because multiplying often takes you above 10. So let me do one more of those just to make sure we've got that. So if I say 3, 4, 5, 6, not going to erase the 10s because the 10s are unavoidable. But we go 3 times 5 is 15. Add the powers, and that would make a 10. Anytime this goes bigger than 10, we have to adjust it. We have to make this smaller by sticking a decimal in it. And if we're going to make this smaller, we make the power bigger up to an 11. If all you're looking to do is the multiply sheet, cut this video, do the multiply sheet, come back tomorrow and watch the divide part. For the divide part, once you're back watching the divide part, very similar. Okay, multiplying, we were multiplying the numbers. For dividing, we're going to divide the numbers. So in a simpler problem, 12 divides by 2 and gets you 6. In the multiply world, we were adding. The divide world, we're going to be subtracting. Don't change the 10, but subtract the powers to get down to 3. In some of the problems, that's all you'll have to do. Divide the numbers, the coefficients, to get a new coefficient, subtract the powers. This one is less cooperative. So if we're going to go less cooperative, 3 dividing 4 does not work out very well. So if you have 3 dividing 4, you need to go 4 out, 3 in. Do a decimal, do a 0, and just divide it. Decimal goes straight up. 4 into 30 is 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Subtracting is 2. Add another 0. 4 into 20 is 5. So we would get 0.75 for now. Subtracting powers, 5 subtracting 6, we're going to go negative. 5 subtracting 6 goes down to be a -1. This problem causes a different issue than this one did. 15 was bad because that was too big. 0.75 is bad because that's too small. we need to have a number that's bigger than 1. If you ever get a number less than 1, we're going to have to fix that by making it bigger. So this, we're going to make bigger by moving the decimal over a spot, because this is now a number between 1 and 10. If we're going to make this bigger, we have to make the power smaller. Negatives sometimes deceive people. If you have -1 and you get smaller, you're down to -2. -1 is worse than -2. That's smaller. Think about the number line. If you're at -1 and you go to the left, you'd be down to -2. But the move there was made this bigger, so make that smaller. Let me do another one of those if you need it, because that's a little bit less fun than this one was. This was easy. Divided the numbers nice and easy. Subtracted the powers nice and easy. That's it. That's all you have to do some of the time. But other times we encounter things like this. So let's go with 8, 7, 4. And so if I try to go 3 divided by 8, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to need to put the 8 out and the 3 in and divide until it goes. Decimal will go straight up. 3 times 8 is 24. 6 throws a 0. 8 into 60 is 7. It's 56. There's 4. Throw another 0. 8 into that is 5. That goes in evenly. So we're going to be good for a second with a .375. But we're going to have to adjust that later because we're under 1. We can't be under 1. For the powers, we're always going to look to subtract the powers down to 3. We want the decimal to always be located to make a number between 1 and 10. So it should go here. We want one digit always to its left. So I want to make this 3.75. But I have to pay for that. I've just made this get bigger. And if I'm going to make this get bigger, I have to make this power get smaller down to 2. If that's helpful, divide sheet. Next week, we'll go to practice test sheet. Be a while before you see another video from me. If you have questions, email me. We'll work it out.